What is good, YouTube? Wowhead have done the good things that they always do, and that is get information for us regarding upcoming content and expansions, and what they have gone and done just as of recently, probably the last day I think come up in the last 24 hours, is get and put out there the weapon models for the Zandalar quest zones. Now, for anything like me, the most looked forward to allied race that is coming into the game, is not out yet, unlike some of them already are, is the Zandalari Trolls. If you play a druid and don't know about the forms that you have, for instance, when you go travel form, instead of going into a like a moose, you go into a raptor. When you fly, you're like a you're actually like a mount model. I'll try and flash some pictures up on the screen. I just cannot wait. We don't know what the ratios are, but I don't think I'm actually fussed, because right now I play Tauren. The War Stomp is awesome for resto druids, especially if you're trying to land a CC. War Stomp is long enough to get a clone off, but if you're playing DPS, you know, I feel like it's not the best ratio in the game, being a Tauren. So, do we really lose out by going Zandalari? I don't think so. If I get to run around as a raptor, I'm doing it. But getting back to what the video is about today, we're going to go over some of the Zandalar quest rewards. Now, these are quest rewards. Sorry about the focus there. So this is not the best stuff that's going to be in the game, obviously. It is just stuff we get as we run around on Zandalar and get items, right? It's pretty stock standard stuff, and they're normally pretty terrible. So we'll start off popping up on the screen and go through as well. One-handed weapons. This is going to be what monks hold on to, okay? Fist weapons. Okay, let's go with this lighting angle so the focus stays. So as you can see, on my computer in the background is the weapon model. I'll also put it up right here so we can follow along. But first up is the fist weapons, what monks will be getting while running around and leveling. Keep in mind, you're probably not used to getting weapons, right? Changing weapons and transmogging and things like that, because a lot of people liked to stick with their artifact weapons. Well, in case you didn't know, artifact weapons are no longer. Instead, we're going to have a neck piece in which we upgrade throughout the next expansion, Battle for Azeroth. What we are going to do is get new weapons, and some people might like reverting back to that old structure of constantly using weapons like an upgrade just as a normal piece of gear, but I'm going to feel a little bit sad not having the artifact weapon coming along with us this time around. So we're going to consistently upgrade weapons as we level up. Some of them will be, in fact, these pieces. Okay, so fist weapons, here we are. Moving on, we have Demon Hunter Glaives, okay? Looking pretty good, and going with certain TMOGs, I think this will really open up. Now, Demon Hunter and their kind of look, I don't know if it's gonna be what they're used to seeing. When I see Demon Hunters, you know, I normally see demonic and fell and things like that, but wooden glaives, going to be interesting here, but still pretty cool without a doubt. Weapon model number 3, we have daggers, okay? So rogues gonna be using what looks like wooden knives, but pretty cool. And also remember, the gear, from what I have seen anyway, has not yet been released. So there will be full sets of gear. Going with how the weapons look so far, I'm very optimistic. I remember when I was playing as a hunter, and hunters always get shafted on transmog, by the way, running through Pandaland, Mists of Pandaria, through Jade Forest and things like that. I almost forgot the names actually. The transmog on my hunter was disgusting. Absolutely terrible. But so far so good with these weapons. I'll be very interested to see what the gear looks like. Moving on though to the 4th model, one that lots of people will indeed be excited about is the two-handed swords for the big armed warriors, unholy death knights, the ones that like to have the biggest, baddest sword in all of Azeroth, okay? Looking very chunky, these weapons are, I must say, but well fitting to the Zandalar idea, even though we haven't seen too much of the continent yet, unless of course you're on the Alpha or something like that. The two-handed mace though would be what my choice would be. If you're going to transmog a two-handed weapon, that mace and the sheer size of it and shape, in my opinion, is very, very cool and pretty unique actually. I feel like it's really going to stand out. If you could put on a nice glow effect to it or something within your transmog that really shows, would add a nice effect to it. But Mace is my choice there. Let me know in the comments below actually what your favorite weapon is of this whole video. The two-handed mace reminds me actually a lot of the Shaman current whatever tier we're up to. Is it 18 now? The mythic set. It looks pretty cool, and for some reason it really does influence here. When I see that weapon, I think back to that gear. So if you're a Shaman, then it would be quite nice to be able to transmog this sword on. But I'm gonna have to leave it up to another class that will run around with this big mace. But again, the axe is my preference. It is amazing. The staffs have a pretty basic design, to be honest. Some of them a little bit smaller on the top. I'd rather it stand out, but got that very Zandalar feel to it. And keep in mind, this is in fact the starting gear, okay? There's gonna be cooler stuff, especially when it comes to the dungeons in the zone, or if there's a raid down the track or something like that. The epic drops, anything that has its own kind of transmog or its own unique look to it will of course always be a step up. This is the baseline starting point. Like, it doesn't go down from here. So be optimistic, or I suggest anyway, when it comes to looking at the different weapons like that. I know I am. As long as it's not any mop hunter transmog, then I'm happy. Hunter bow looking very nice. Going along with some other sets I feel like would suit in very well. And I'd like to see, I've been dissing the hunter sets a little bit on the side. I feel like some of you would agree with me. Hopefully hunters really shine with this Zandalar kind of feel going to it. I feel like the potential's there that they will. Of course, trolls are gonna hopefully be the kings and queens of the transmog look. But hunter kind of fits in there well as well as shaman. I feel like they're the three I'm gonna keep my eye on and be hopeful for. But here we have the bow. Looks quite big, and it would be nice sitting there as a marksmanship hunter that is getting heavily redone in the way that your talents work. So check out my other video if you haven't. I'll try and remember to put a link either in the description or one of the things that pops up, and you can watch it to check out the changes to marksmanship hunter that are coming in BfA if you are unaware. We have a couple of different one-handed axes to play around with there. Two different designs, both pretty nice. Nothing that makes me go, oh, that is yuck. But nothing at the same time that makes me just personally go, oh my god, I need that transmog. Pretty nice though. Then we have the follow-up dagger. There's indeed two to play with for the rogue classes that are out there if you play a rogue. One being quite odd in design, I feel like. So you have your standard dagger, stab them in the back, right? But then you have one that looks like a mace, I thought was a sword, but is indeed another dagger. So it's like, got the big blades at the end, very chunky, looks very deadly. You'd probably cut yourself if you actually held them in real life. For the offhands, we have a couple of nice shields to play around with as well. I'll flash them up on the screen. As well as an offhand, okay? Pretty basic offhand. But that moves me on to the next part of this video for the people that did stick around. A special kind of, not preview, but a look at some unique items coming into the game. So, as we mentioned offhands, and it looks basic, there has been leaked, I'll call it, a very unique offhand that you don't actually hold. Influenced by the demonology artifact weapon, how it kind of flies around you, will be this offhand. Looks a lot to me like an octopus of some sort. And I think it is pronounced, don't quote me on this, but Exalzax. Is that right? Exalzax or something like that. All the cool weapons always have the crazy names, alright? So I think that is very unique and really, really, like, it is such a positive thing that there's stuff like this already being announced that's going to be in the game, okay? The first kind of unique weapon we've seen is very unique. Like, it's not just a flashy offhand. This thing is influenced by stuff that we found cool. And I remember before Legion was announced, demonology and the fact that it goes around you was huge. Everyone loved that idea, and a lot of people rolled demonology warlocks at the start. Now they phased off because they weren't the strongest of classes at times, and that's always going to be something that happens, but the hype was there and I was well aware of it before Legion dropped. And to wrap off the video is what I think is the coolest weapon I will show you throughout this whole video, and it is, to put it simply, right, it's going to catch everyone's attention, a glowing red animated fire sword. Okay, like how much cooler can you get? Very sharp in its design, and honestly, I rock a red set. I've seen this, I'm like, I want that. But I do play feral, and that's not going to happen, is it? So for anyone that wants one-hand swords, you are, well, you're in a good opportunity to get a cool looking sword transmog. I think so anyway. Let me know in the comments below what you think was the coolest weapon of this video. I've already told you, I think it is the one-hand flaming glowing red fire sword, and it looks amazing. I'm jealous. I'm going to wrap the video up here. Be sure to like and subscribe if you were going to and just forgot, because the video is about to end, and I'll see you guys next time.